Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you a national championship game preview between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with Alabama.
Looking at Alabama in this matchup, I want to focus on the offensive line. These guys have three legit first-round prospects up there with Barrett Jones, DJ Fluker, and also Chance Warmack. Those guys will have their hands full with Notre Dame's defensive front. And if Alabama is going to move the football downhill like they want to and operate off play action, I think it's going to be up to these guys to keep Notre Dame out of the backfield. Notre Dame has a very solid front seven, almost as similar as Bama's defense. So if they can find time, Alabama has the advantage at the receiver position. You look at their receivers, they can do a great job of getting downfield. You look at Amari Cooper, one of the big playmakers they have on the flanks. You look at wide receiver Amari Cooper. He has the speed to take the top off of a defense, and if they can give A.J. McCarron time, he will be able to have some success versus this Notre Dame secondary. There's some question marks on the corners. Look for Alabama to try to exploit that with the passing game. Defensively for the Crimson Tide, you look at their version of Manti Te'o and C.J. Mosley, an outstanding inside linebacker. This guy is always making plays in the running game and also is very effective in pass coverage. So he's going to be asked to make sure he keeps a close eye on those backs leaking out of the backfield, since Bama's #1 mission defensively is to make you one-dimensional. If they can come in and force Notre Dame to pass the football more than they want to, that's a win for this defense, because we know on the corners, D. Milliner and company, they're going to have their hands full with wide receivers. But I think the big key will be whether or not Robert Lester can make effective plays in the back end of coverage. We know Notre Dame loves to go to their tight end, Tyler Eifert. He's going to have to play center field, make some key plays on the football, and hopefully come away with some interceptions. Now let's move over to Notre Dame in this matchup, and what I like about their offense is the versatility of their running backs. Theo Riddick, Sierra Wood, those guys can easily line up in the slot as slot wide receivers and give Alabama's linebackers problems. They can force Alabama to do something they don't want to do, which is cover. They want to play downhill, they want to inflict pain on the running game, but Notre Dame has the athleticism in the backfield with Wood and Riddick to force Alabama into more coverage situations as opposed to just playing downhill. And when you look at Tyler Eifert, I think he's going to be the X factor. I'm a big fan of putting the tight end on one side of the field with going trips on the opposite side. It isolates the strong safety, it isolates the outside linebacker, and it takes advantage of the individual matchups in which Tyler Eifert can definitely win. And they have to win up front, quite honestly. You look at Alabama's defensive front. We talked about how talented Notre Dame's defensive line is. Alabama is just as talented. They can cause problems. Mike Golick Jr. and company have to hold their own. Otherwise, it could be a long day for that Irish offensive attack. Defensively for the Irish, you look at defensive linemen Stephon Tuitt and Lewis Nix. I think those guys are going to have a huge impact in this ball game. They're going against first-round NFL draft picks, in which they are first-round NFL draft picks themselves. But when you look at Tuitt and Nix holding their own at the point of attack, keeping everything funneled inside, so that way you want to push everything toward Manti Te'o. We know this is a great guy inside the box, can make tackles at the line of scrimmage, and that's how you get Bama off the field. If they're able to do that, we know they also have the ability to push the pocket as far as getting pressure on the quarterback. So the defensive line play of Notre Dame will be key. They're talented, they're fast, they're aggressive, they're just as strong as Alabama up front. We know Alabama will test Notre Dame in the secondary, so cornerback Bennett Jackson will have to step up and make some big plays. He cannot get caught looking in the backfield. If that happens, we know Alabama has the talent to hit big plays downfield. So if the secondary can hold their own, you look at Bennett Jackson, Zake Mata, those guys will have to have huge games. You see the theme here. Everyone involved will have to have huge games in order for the Irish to win versus Alabama. Now, there's a lot of pro prospects on both teams in this ballgame, but keep an eye on Eddie Lacy. This guy is intriguing because he's 5'10", 230 pounds, plays bigger than his size, but has deceptive breakaway speed. If I have to make a quick comparison to a guy at the National Football League level, it would be Michael Turner. So you look at this guy, one cut downhill, has the burst and acceleration to get the top speed. He may not run a 4.4 or 4.3, but his acceleration is of the liking of a 4.4, 4.3 guy. Definitely a prospect you want to watch. And Manti Te'o, a lot of people are split on him. They don't know if he's going to be as good at the next level as he was in college. I think so. Anytime you have a guy that's made this many impact plays for defense, that's the type of guy you want on your team. He also has excelled in coverage skills. That was a knock on him as a freshman, gotten better. So this is a guy that's a total football player. Give me football players, and I will give you wins at the next level. I think this guy's going to be a great player for whoever drafts him. The X factor in this ball game for Alabama will be their offensive line. There's at least 3 first-round picks up front, so these guys would definitely have their hands full versus Notre Dame's excellent defensive front. If they can keep A.J. McCarron clean in the pocket, I think that can go a long way in this team having some success. And the X factor for Notre Dame will be Everett Golson. He's the mobile guy that Alabama hates to defend against. If they can get him on the move within the passing game, and also if he can take off on some design runs, I think Notre Dame definitely has a chance to win. Everett Golson will be the biggest X factor in this matchup. Now, here are some of my coaching points for both teams in this matchup. For Notre Dame, they have to make Bama cover the entire field. Let's not forget they have some athleticism at the running back position, guys that can play receiver and they can catch the football out of the backfield. And they have to win on special teams. You got to win every aspect of the game to beat Alabama. That's how great they are. And Everett Golson's legs, keeping the play alive, extending drives with his legs, getting those cheap 3, 4, and 5 yards could go a long way in helping Notre Dame win this ball game. And attacking vertically for Alabama, that's going to be the biggest key. Alabama has some outstanding targets at the receiver position. You got to use that versus Notre Dame's secondary. And defensive contain, you got to keep Everett Golson in the pocket, make him be a consistent passer from that pocket, and you want to play defense with controlled aggressiveness. If you can do that, stay aggressive, but also don't lose discipline, I think Bama has a legit chance to win this matchup. Sean Alexander was definitely a campus legend, was a highly decorated recruit, Parade All-American, USA Today All-American, joined Alabama in 1995, redshirted, so his redshirt freshman year is when he broke out. 291 yards against LSU, a nationally televised game. Finished his career at Alabama with 15 career rushing records and over 3,500 rushing yards. And Rocket Ishmael was definitely a campus legend in my opinion, was Reggie Bush before Reggie Bush. You talk about one of the more explosive and dynamic playmakers in college football history. From 87 to 1990, he tore up defenses in every which way possible. Kickoff return, punt return, running back, wide receiver. You talk about one of the fastest guys in equipment. In 1990, finished second in the Heisman Trophy. He led Notre Dame to a national championship in 1988 and nearly led them to one in 1989. I like Notre Dame in this matchup. When I look at these two teams, I see two similar ball clubs, so it will come down to one X factor, and I think Notre Dame has that X factor. They actually have two. They have Everett Golson, the mobile quarterback that can extend plays with his legs and also has very good passing skills when he's on the move. And I also look at their running backs, being able to put those guys in positions where they can catch passes out of the backfield or line up in the slot. I think Notre Dame can give Alabama problems just by formation. So look for Notre Dame to out-formation Alabama, widen out that 3-4 defense, attack the individual matchups with the running backs. So look for more double running back sets with Riddick and also Sierra Wood, Atkinson. I think that's how Notre Dame wins this ball game. So I look for the Fighting Irish to win their first national championship since 1988.